Yeah.
I think I downloaded his like mega pack, and then I only used the grunge brush.
Yeah. Yes,
I
that's what I'm
think
saying. That's what I'm
like,
saying. You
like
find one that you like, and then you just might as well just.
yeah, I was just like, I really like how it makes it messy. I'm keeping
Uh,
that, and that was it. Like,
I have a little
he
folder
has like,
of brushes I like.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning back into Pixels After Dark. I'm one of your hosts, Joe. With me, as always, is the Pixelated Traveler, Ruby, and the most awesome illustrator, TCillustrations, Tyler. I try and think up something different every time for you. One of these times, I'll find something that
every time.
at least I can make you blush.
I'm gonna go hide under the corner.
Nice. But with us, we have a very special guest with us. He's known through multiple communities and all over the place. He's an author, a comic book concept designer or artist, and also a video game artist, I believe, or a concept artist.
Yep.
Jake Myler. Jake.
Hi. Hey, guys. Nice to be on here.
Buddy?
Hey.
I hope I didn't butcher your intro.
No, it was perfect. Yeah. I do design comic books and as well as I illustrate them, but and I do some video game art stuff, and I'm mostly known for, as far as communities go, probably in Destiny. Exclusively.
Yes, because you are the one and only Watermelon XO.
Yep, that's me. I guess I have that.
You do have that. You own it.
You will have that forever.
Yeah.
People 20 years from now are going to be like, Watermelon XO.
You know what? You're not wrong, because I'll tell you what, Jake goes the extra mile whenever he goes and does something. And every convention, I won't say every convention, but the ones that I've seen, you always bring the Watermelon XO like costume with you. And you always have, throw the helmet on for a second, or it's there. And people go bananas for it.
I really need to work on that more. Like, I just have the head and a cape, and pretty much that's it. Like, it's very casual. It's very like casual XO looking. But I'd really love to have like a full armor set sometime.
Ooh.
Yeah. I bought all the supplies for it. I just don't have the time to like learn how to, do cosplay armor creation,
Yeah.
It's something I don't have very much experience in. And I thought I could just like jump into it, but it's like, oh, this takes a lot of time.
Right.
Oh, okay. You'll get it. You'll get some downtime. You'll get a vacation and be like, you know what? I'm going to knock out a chess piece.
That would be excellent.
It's crazy to me how they measure like the pieces out with duct tape.
Yeah.
And then they like cut it up and then form it again. I don't know.
My desk was just like littered with all these different little cutout pieces of paper, and I cut them all out, to the specifications and everything. And then I was like, wait, how does this come together? I have all these pieces and I have no idea how they're supposed to like fit together anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
You got a number.
I was probably supposed to label them beforehand.
Right.
Something I would do.
I'm right there with you.
It's like you get so excited, you get it all out. You're like, oh, this is awesome. Where's A?
Yeah. It's on the ground somewhere.
Yeah. All right. I lost G, K, and A1.
You're like, there's my coffee later. Stain. That's the center. I know that.
Yeah. There you go. No, that's awesome. No, thanks again for coming on with us. If you guys don't mind, we'll dive right in. We've got a couple questions before we get into like the body of things, but real quick, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I don't know. How do you start? I don't know. I went to school in LA, in Burbank for animation. I have like a Bachelor of Science degree in animation, weirdly. But then like soon as I got out of school, it was around the time when Disney laid off almost their entire like animation workforce because they were going into 3D and they weren't going to do 2D animation anymore. And I was like, this is going to be hard to find a job. So I kind of like, that scared me. And I kind of just left, went to Vegas because I heard it was like cheap to live there. My girlfriend at the time, like she had her parents live there. So we just like went there, lived there for a little bit. And I just worked in a grocery store for a while. But while I was doing that, I decided I wanted to like go into comics. And, so I like entered a bunch of comic contests and everything. And it just kind of like, my drive to like get into comics just kept growing and growing and growing. And, until finally, I started like just applying to any kind of like comic thing I found on like Craigslist or anything. Like that's something I would recommend to a lot of people starting out. Just like try to apply to things, like, even if it's kind of like just tangentially feels like you can like that your skills will work with this art thing that they're asking for. Just apply and see what happens and see what they want. So like I just got a bunch of weird jobs, like doing just random, like there was like random comic people making like indie films would want to put out a mini comic or something to kind of promote their film or something. Or like I did a comic to promote like a gay church in Hollywood randomly. And I just would do anything. And then after a while I started getting like legit jobs in comics. And then I got a job with it's a comic book company that no longer really exists. Well, they do a little bit, called Tokyo Pop, and they do manga. Yeah, they used to release like back in the day. They were the first people to kind of keep saying kind of a lot. They were the people they would release Japanese manga, but they wouldn't flip everything. So they'd keep it the like traditional way where you'd have to read basically backwards, from right to left. And they were the first people to do that because they could just put it out a lot faster. They didn't have to flip everything and do all these alterations and stuff. And I got a job with them because they wanted to start branching out into making their own comics instead of just translating them from Japan.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, so I got a
nice comic shop for a while.
Yeah. And I was also one of those kids that would like, I wasn't a kid, I was like 20, but like I was one of those people who would like sit on the floor in like Barnes and Nobles and read all the comics that came out. But then finally I got a job that allowed me to contribute to those, and they let me put out a graphic novel called Undertown. So that kind of started everything. And then I just I worked in comics, did a bunch of like, I kind of hopped around. I did comics for like Boom Studios and Archaea, which they did like Disney comics too, like Finding Nemo and like various Mickey Mouse comics and different like Pixar comics. And then I also did like things like working with Jim Henson, and did like a Fraggle Rock comic and contributed to various things like that. And then finally, I think my biggest comic was Orphan Blade, which was with Oni Press, and that took a while. And that was like full color. It was like 200 pages. And
I didn't realize it was that big.
Yeah, it took like 4 years to do that one. And but while I was working on that, Destiny came out basically. So then I finished that comic and I was like super burnt out. Yeah, I was like, I need a break from comics. So what I decided to do to take a break from comics was work on 2 web comics instead.
Nice.
which is not what you want to do at all.
And I'm over here.
So I started putting out web comics, and one of them being Watermelon XO. Yeah, just because I like Destiny, and I wanted to had a little character, and I wanted to I kept thinking of like funny things and situations that I could put him in, and it just kind of evolved from there. I got a really good response from just the public and also the people at Bungie too. It really surprised me, and yeah.
Dude, that comic is a lot of fun, and just the development of the characters and playing off of all the different content and the emotions and what's going on in Destiny at that time is captured 100% in the comics that you make for the Watermelon XO. But I have to say, every time this one strip comes up, I lose my mind. It's literally something that I want to one day somehow figure out, print it and put it in a frame and put it on my wall, because every time I look at it, I will just smile internally. And it's the one for laser tag weekend.
Oh yeah.
I freaking love that one.
Eating
so much. So much.
Thank you, Joe.
I crack up every time. And I mean, there's a lot of them. There were a few that you really started to develop the characters, kind of like giving them raw emotion when Forsaken came out. And I really like that direction with them too. But just the evolution of that comic and these characters is just amazing, that it's just grown so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's like 80 plus pages now. It's actually actually pretty long for just a webcomic, I think. Like a fan webcomic.
Yeah. No,
I still feel a little bit guilty because this last year I was telling a lot of people at Guardian Con that like I basically I printed a comic every Guardian Con, but this third issue was pretty thin because Forsaken came out, and I kind of just got stuck in Forsaken land, and like that, and it really goes to show that like, yeah, you can either waste time in a video game or you can waste time doing art and doing comics, which, I mean, it's not saying it's wasting time, but it's like you only have so much time. And I really maybe used a lot of time in Destiny this year.
That's funny.
It didn't turn out so bad, though. It's fun looking at the concept pictures and stuff, the doodles that you put up.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to like at least put some extra material in there and stuff. So
yeah, that was clever. That's a perfect way of filling.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was like I kind of had the idea like make it kind of a zine style, like just full of just random stuff. Yeah.
I have to ask you for Watermelon XO. You know how he gets like in kill mode every now and then?
Yeah.
Was that inspired by Invader Zim?
No.
Okay. I just had to ask.
It'd be cool if I did think of that, but no, it was just kind of like I was thinking because it was back when I think I came up with that back when I was just learning like what EXO were and stuff, and all the lore behind like the Deepstone Crypt and stuff, and I was like, what? They were used to be like war machines or something. So were they like taken over like and used as war machines, and then they get their actual personality back? Like, how did that work? So I just figured like he had like a kill mode.
Yeah. No, I love that because Gur in Invader Zim, the robot.
Yeah.
He's like my favorite cartoon character ever. And I always used to love because he was so derpy, and then he would go into like this serious mode every now and then when he was like malfunctioning. It would like switch over.
That is such a good analogy, though.
And that's what Watermelon is. So like when he suddenly activated his golden gun in one comic and he like killed everyone, and then he came back to like normal, he's like, "What happened?"
Yeah. And
that like made it for me.
I like reading about characters like that too. That have like two different sides to them or something.
Have you watched this anime called Demon Slayer?
Yes, I'm watching that right now.
One of the characters has a personality like that where he like passes out and becomes an actual like full blown Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
it's like really cool. Yeah, because he's like the whiniest, craziest character, and then like he's like whew, serious mode, and he's awesome.
I think that might be something that's actually pretty common with manga and stuff and anime.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I am influenced by I watch a lot of anime and read a lot of manga and stuff. So that probably seeped into my consciousness somewhere, my subconsciousness.
I loved it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you do you draw inspiration from that style of comics going forward with your stuff? Because I know, like, I don't know what the comics like medium is called in Japan. Is that manga?
Yeah, manga. Yeah.
I know you've traveled to Japan a couple times because I'm just wildly jealous. You know, it's like, man, wasn't he just there like 2 weeks ago? He jumps on a plane and goes over there like he's getting on a bus.
It's been a while. But I did. There was a period where I was like, we should not be going to Japan this much because it's both bad on our bank accounts and on our credit card. But we just like I think we did like 3 times within like 2 years or something. So that was kind of crazy.
It looked like a great time.
I hope you had frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, actually, I think one leg of the trip was free or something.
Nice.
I got some.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And it was like one of the times that we went, like we had a friend who was like looking out for cheap airline tickets, and she just like contacted us out of the blue, and she's like, $600 round trip tickets to Japan. Get them.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So we just went.
That's like a trip to Florida out here.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
Yeah.
It's that expensive to fly to Florida?
From LA to Florida, yeah, it's about $600.
Yeah, unless you take crazy red eye times or something.
Yeah,
I live in upstate New York by Syracuse, and I think when I was looking, I was this close from just hopping on a plane and going down to Florida for Guardian Con this year, and it was like $230.
Yeah, it's a short flight for you.
Just a weekend trip.
It would have been an expensive weekend trip.
I think it's like $200 for me to go to Washington, which is probably about the same distance as you to Florida.
I don't know about that. I mean,
it's from the bottom to the top. Yes, top to the bottom.
All right, when you put it like that,
something like that.
People forget California is like a huge state. If you put it next to like what the states are on the East Coast, it covers like 3 of them.
Yeah, and
I had to think about that.
My last move, last time I moved states was from LA. Went from LA to Seattle, and that was a long trip, and we put our lives in danger a few times.
It's like a 22-hour drive, right?
Yeah, and
it was only driven it once.
We decided to go like in the December, and it was like partially snowy, partially like extra foggy. It was scary, but it's a long ways.
Yeah, that I could see Northern California being really sketchy with the snow.
Yeah, and also just going through Oregon is like going through all these mountainous areas and stuff. Yeah. Do not recommend in wintertime.
Move in the spring.
Yes, do yourself a favor.
Oh, awesome. Moving along, got a couple more questions. What is your preferred medium when you're creating artwork? I know you said it earlier is digital. What kind of setup do you have?
I just have like a Wacom Cintiq, and it's like one of those big screens, and so I use mostly that. Like I used to do all my comics, even like I used to like draw those on paper and ink them by hand and everything. But then I started using Photoshop and like doing a comparison. They like looked almost exactly the same, but one of them I didn't need materials for and didn't make a mess when I dropped it on the floor. Like I have like a big, well, actually, if I look up on the ceiling right now, there's like all these paint splatters where something happened. Like I'd come down on with my arm on accident on the like the ink pen, and it flipped up onto the ceiling, and yes.
Wow.
There's a lot of really dangerous things that can happen. So I switched to just Photoshop, and it works just as well. So I pretty much do everything like 100% digital.
That's awesome.
Do some watercolors and stuff for fun, but
yeah, I've seen a couple of your watercolors.
Yeah.
You share them every now and then.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, just recently I got a iPad Pro, and I've been using like Procreate with that, and that is pretty sweet. Like, I wouldn't mind switching over to that because
I'm never going back.
Yeah, it's really nice. It has a really nice feel to it. And then also I can like draw while I'm just watching TV.
Yep.
Just on the couch. It's pretty awesome.
That's the 100% appeal.
Yeah. Draw while you're just like sitting in bed. I don't know. It's great. You're not tied down to your desk. I don't know. Sometimes that's good.
I think iPad even came out with the screen paper texture, so it feels like paper.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Like that you could buy and stick on?
Yeah, it's just like a thing that goes over the screen, and then when you move the pencil against it, it feels grainy like paper.
Yeah, but I think like I've been drawing on screen so long, like it doesn't. I'm not bothered by it. Just that smooth feeling.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
freaks me out every now and then because like I go to do like a little line, but because it's so smooth, it ends up being like a big old like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all about the brush you select and how that's all set up. But
I'm
loving it.
Procreate are really good. Like the starter brushes, I was like really impressed with them.
Yeah, and I'm really liking the like gouache brushes and like more painterly artsy brushes.
Yeah,
I'm like impressed at how real it looks. It's pretty cool.
Yep. No, they did a good job.
Yeah. And actually, I actually did a comic just this last April Fools for Viz Comics, and I did that all in this thing called Clip Studio Pro.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that? It's like it's basically like it's like a Japanese program that a lot of like comic book artists use, and that one's really nice because it's like it's set up for comic book artists basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I've used it, and I was like pretty impressed with that. So I would use.
My most favorite feature about Clip Studio is the model. How you can set it up and then you can draw over it.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about the pose. You can just there's the model. You just draw over the top of it, add like the armor or whatever you want to do.
Oh,
and then you can
use that.
Yeah, there's I forget what they're called, but you know, like the little wooden models.
Yeah, like armature?
Yeah. So they have that in the program, so you can just kind of set it up, get the basic like shape, and then you minimize it and go to town again.
That's sweet.
It makes like doing a bunch of characters really quickly really easy.
Oh yeah. Especially like a crowd, like drawing a crowd or anything.
Yeah.
Annoying thing. I hate it. Like, I have nightmares about it.
Stops you from just like copying and pasting characters and changing their shirt color.
Yeah. Like I had even that comic I just said, like I had the first scene is in a fighting tournament with a giant like coliseum around it with people and stuff in the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh God, why did I choose this? It was like most of my time was just drawing that scene.
Sorry, I was just reading chat and they mentioned crowd brush. I'd never heard of that one.
Oh, is it just like a brush that
paints in a crowd in the background like a wash?
Yeah, nice. I wouldn't mind that.
I like the digital medium a lot better now than I did a year ago, just because it seems like it's almost endless with the tools at your fingertips. I mean, I see in the Destiny Community Artist Discord channel, there's just packets of brushes like everywhere for every different thing. Like there's got to be thousands of different brushes you can use.
Oh yeah.
There's probably like almost too many, and I always end up like downloading some giant mega pack of like hundreds of brushes, and I end up using one.
Yep.
Like, that's it.
Right.
Yeah. And that's kind of like I'm listening to a lot of like concept artists like takes on brushes and stuff, and a lot of them just say like, yeah, I just mostly use like 3 or 4 brushes, maybe at the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about how you use the brushes.
Yeah, I dig that.
I've been afraid of using brushes for a while now, and I think that's bad on me as an artist, especially trying to do painting. But I do have a question though regarding that, because I've seen some people, they'll offer their brushes for free, but they'll say, "Hey, credit me." But when you've got a lot of brushes and you lose track of whose is whose,
Oh yeah.
I feel bad. So I tried that. For that reason, I sort of avoided them for a while, and I have not gotten around to learning how to create my own complex brushes.
Yeah, that's a little trick. It's a little tricky, to create a brush from scratch too. But it just takes a lot of like experimenting. Basically, you got to spend like an afternoon and try to figure out all the little options and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also is like it's good to like experiment and see, like just try to use all the brushes and see what each one does and see which one like really like clicks with you. Yeah, but I don't know how to solve that credit me like problem.
Yeah.
Make your own brushes.
Yeah, I think like I don't think that's a hard and fast rule. It's just probably if you remember who friggin' gave you the brush.
Yeah.
No one's gonna come after you or anything.
I know, but I feel bad.
And
TMB
no one would have
Games.
known.
TMB Games in chat mentioned Kyle's brushes. Have you guys ever used those?
Yeah. They have some good brushes in there.
Yeah.
A lot of those are the like the Photoshop brushes. They'll have the presets. There'll be preset brushes, so they control a lot more than just regular brushes do.
Yeah.
Like color and different water technique things, like really drills down into like the options. So I always end up like using one and then I don't know how to reset the brushes back to how they were before, because like clicking on one like messed up everything else.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you got to have like a default brush, like this is the default. Make that into a preset, and then you click it every time you're done. But yeah, they're pretty cool though.
Your go-to.
Yeah, they do some awesome things.
Brush.
Yeah,
I think I downloaded his like mega pack, and then I only used the grunge brush.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You find one that you like, and you just might as well just.
Yeah, I was just like, I really like how it makes it messy. Keeping that, and that was it.
I have a little folder of like brushes I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has like 12 different pencils, and I'm like, I like the one pencil.
I like the pencil that comes with Photoshop.
Yeah. Gotta love those mega packs. The good news is when you buy brushes from people like that is you get the updates for free, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So like as they improve it, because sometimes like when he first comes out with one, it creates like all kinds of crazy lag and all these insane things on your program, and then like a month later he's like, I optimized it and now it's great, and you're like, oh,
that is good. Yeah, that's a way that like you could fix your credit problem like Ruby. You could just like make sure that you only use brushes that you bought. Like, because they're like what, they're like $2 or something, $5.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you wouldn't have the guilt, on your back.
Yeah, it's not really my art anymore.
But yeah, I would feel no guilt to like just use as many brushes as you can, just to just get more experience with brushes in general.
Yeah. I think Procreate kind of makes that easier. Just a simple interface and portability, and it's so light.
Yeah, exactly. And brushes always seem like very like they seem very responsive, I guess, and in Procreate, which some I like, and then Photoshop, it can just be like you get a brush that is like really laggy, and it's just like it just you draw something, and then like 10 minutes later the thing slowly goes across the screen following where you drew. And
I know what you're talking about.
I can't stand that.
Oh, the lag.
Yeah.
I hear, but Clip Studio is pretty good about that, though. I hear, as far as brushes, especially, like it's really grown
Oh, cool.
the artist community.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
dealers in DCA use it as well, pretty consistent, pretty religiously even.
Mm. Yeah, I mean that's an actual like Photoshop is a program made for photographers, right? First and foremost, like it's not even like a real drawing program, but then like Clip Studio, it is a program for artists.
Yeah.
Same with Procreate, so like it's just a lot. It has the things that artists require, I guess.
I think that's why I ended up switching to Procreate, because I was using Photoshop mainly, and then I kind of dabbled in Clip.
Yeah.
But I think Clip had too many options for me. Like there's too much I could do with it.
Yeah.
So then when like I got to Procreate, it was very like dumbed down. It was like, here's your canvas, here's your brushes, here's an eraser.
No, I totally I agree with that totally. There's even a program called Bamboo, I think. Did you guys ever see that? It's like
I used that so long ago.
Yeah, it was like when iPads first came out, basically.
Yeah.
But it only had like 3 brushes, like just had charcoal and pencil and like marker or something, and only like 4 colors to start out with or something.
Yeah.
And you couldn't change the color at first. And I was really having fun with that just because it had such a limited amount of things you could do that it somehow made me more creative to try to get it to work.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a pretty good practice tool when you think about it. Just limiting yourself to, I'm only going to use these couple colors, these couple brushes, and see what I can make.
Then you don't get overwhelmed, but you also like you're kind of set free, I guess. Yeah, you don't have so much pressure because it's like, well, stuff I can't really create a masterpiece, so let's see what I can do.
Right.
Yeah.
That might be like a weekly challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like to get the juices flowing, like everyone does that 30-minute warm up.
Yeah, it could be a good warm up.
We might have to try that on the show. Like limit digital artists to 1 brush.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, especially if it's kind of feels like they're cheating a little bit.
Right. I'd do that with Clinton, and then he'd make like a full-blown spaceship or something crazy. Yeah. Just be like, all right, well, new challenge.
You broke it. What are you doing?
Have you ever had the pleasure of using Coral Paint?
Oh, yeah. I think back in the day, right? Like it was like a while ago. Yeah. Was that what came out before Painter?
No, I think that was Painter.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Coral Draw and Painter, I think.
Yeah. I think and it had like the beginning Wacom tablet that I saved up for.
Yeah, with a little default something there.
Yeah, and that was awesome. Like that was the Procreate of the day, basically.
Back then.
Yeah.
What's it called? The physics it had for imitating like live painting, but it was so buggy. Unfortunately, it was so buggy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it could like really replicate replicate like natural media pretty well. So it was pretty amazing for the time, especially.
We need to have a podcast just about the different programs, man. I feel like we could talk about it forever.
Oh, true.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Adobe's coming out with a new app.
Oh yeah, we're trying. I want to try that out. I'm pretty curious about that.
Yeah, I'm so sad I missed out on the beta. It was like a short 24-hour window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I missed it by hours. And they're like, sorry, we're not taking any more people, but I'm quite excited to try that.
Well, at least you'll be able to try it with like a little bit less bugs, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Have you tried the one they currently have right now? I think it's called Photoshop Draw or Adobe Draw. Adobe. Let me see. I have it on my phone. It's called Adobe Sketch. Adobe Sketch. And
I haven't been really trying the Adobe like iPad programs because they released a bunch that are kind of like, oh, this does something similar to Photoshop, but not really.
No, those are different. Yeah, I don't like any of those except for one. Only one really gets the job done if you want to do a little bit of photo editing, which is Photoshop Fix. Yeah. Otherwise, no. Adobe Sketch is like sketchy. It's cute.
Yeah.
Very cute.
But
The
it's
watercolors.
oh, but it is like it's limited compared to like Procreate and stuff though.
In a sense, yeah, but I would still play with it. Watercolors.
Cool.
For the watercolors.
But yeah, I'm interested to know what the like full-fledged Photoshop on iPad.
Oh yes. Well, I'm concerned it'll still just be like Photoshop. In that case, I'm more curious about Project Gemini. See what they'll come up with.
What is that?
Yeah, they're promising to fix that like Coral Painter had that made it stand out back in its day. You know, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's something I've never heard of. I don't know what that is, but cool. At least they're working on stuff.
Yeah. I mean, as for all that money that we're tossing at them, I hope so.
Yeah, every month.
All the money we're throwing at them, they better be making something new.
It's kind of true though.
Yeah. What do you listen to while you're creating pieces or when you're working on something?
I listen to a lot of stuff. I don't know. Like, I really do. Like, but I kind of like, I've been told that like my music tastes are something similar to like what someone who would shop at Forever 21 would listen to, maybe. Like, like no, like literally, my wife goes there and like sometimes, and she's like, "This is the same music that I always hear you listening to," because it's something that's like it's trendy yet slightly like it's the remix of some trendy music by some electro artist or something. Like I don't know. I just hop around. I listen to
the
like
remix of the remix.
Yeah. I really am. I don't know. When I was a kid, I was really like, I don't want to listen to anything that's popular. Like I want to make sure I am listening to stuff that is really cool, and I just like would listen to a lot of like club music and stuff, and yeah, and just like weird, esoteric, eclectic things. But as I've gotten older, like I just want to listen to stuff that's fun. So I pretty much listen to everything though. Sorry, that's a very vague.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like I listen to what a lot of stuff that is recommended by like the Needle Drop, like it's like a YouTube channel called the Needle Drop. I've been listening to a lot of stuff that he listens to lately, just because it's someone who can recommend me stuff, and just stuff that like coworkers recommend, and then
I like his name.
Yeah.
It's like it's very subtle, but you get the picture.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's because it's something to do with records and stuff.
Yeah, like I feel like most kids would not get that reference.
What, Needle Drop?
Yeah, like
Really?
we all get it because we listened to records when we were younger.
So we lived through the early '90s. That's why.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But most kids, I don't know, unless they're DJs.
But yeah, I make a lot of use of my Spotify account.
Nice.
Do a lot of stuff and what they recommend me, and I search around, and yeah, I don't know. I went through a phase where I listened to only like Japanese music for a little bit, and then there's a phase where I only listened to stuff that was on like BBC Radio 1, like in Europe, and now I just like whatever. Anything and everything.
Radio.
Yeah.
My dad would be a fan.
BBC Radio?
Yeah.
It's some pretty good stuff. Yeah.
He's English. He's been out here since he was 18 though.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really more American at this point.
Yeah.
But he insists that he's got those like diehard roots, So anytime something's English, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my people." Okay.
Well, when I was there was a point where I was super poor and like didn't really have like TV or anything, but I found out that like you can stream all of BBC Radio 1, all the BBC programs just on the internet, like live. So I just like spend all day drawing my comics, listening to BBC. It's pretty good. And so I got into a lot of like English bands at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I highly recommend the BBC broadcasts.
I'll definitely check that out. Tyler, do you want to bring us right into the guts of everything?
Sure. All right. So obviously you draw a lot of comics and stuff. And when you're doing that, do you ever have to do research for projects, or do you kind of just freehand go to town?
I mean, a lot. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like look up imagery. I look up like, and just like how things are. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I guess the answer is yes. Because there's like I did like the samurai book with Orphan Blade, and that took like a lot of research. Like into, I even went to Japan that time, and I think I wrote off like the trip, saying it was research for my taxes. Maybe don't tell the IRS. So,
I'm sure they're listening.
Yeah, they definitely listen to the show.
That's pretty cool. So when you went to Japan, did you actually take any like references for the comic that you ended up using?
I think I did. Yeah. I mean, we mostly stayed in Tokyo, but there's like a lot of like shrines and stuff, and I remember I did take a lot of pictures. Like I went to, what's it called? Is it Ueno Park, I guess? And there's just like a cherry blossom park, and they have a bunch of old temples and shrines and stuff. And yeah, I used a lot of that, like especially a lot of like the tile. There just ends up being things like, how do you draw a tile on a temple, and how does that work? And so I have to take a lot of like just detailed photos of like, or how bricks are laid, and like what do trees look like. So it's
right.
Reference is very helpful.
I think I read somewhere that Japanese, like traditional Japanese architecture, didn't use any like nails or any like setting materials. It was all like weight balanced and stuff and notches and things. Is that true?
Yep. It's true. It seems very complicated. Like they find out how to like cut the wood in a way that will interlock two pieces of wood together, basically.
Right.
I've seen them.
Do you think that adds to like the complexity of the structures for your art though?
Yeah, probably. Yes. Yeah, because you can't just use a nail. So you have to use like a bunch of different layered pieces of wood, and it all kind of fits together. But the way that they do it, like all the seams are kind of hidden, and all it does end up being like very simple, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, but things like tile and stuff, like I don't think you can draw that from memory unless you have had experience drawing tile before.
Right.
It's pretty complicated. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you do any like historical research for comics, like what the time period was like, and does that help? Or
yeah, I did do like a bunch just for like, what did people wear, like, back in the day in the Edo era or whatever, like, or what are the patterns that people used on their clothes and stuff. All that stuff actually was pretty interesting to me, because like I found out that like in Japan especially, like there was, if you go through the eras, like there's like all these fashion periods where something would go in style, like certain hairstyles would go in style, or certain kinds of patterns and certain kind of dyes, and like it really was like it really is like close to how fashions go in and out of style. Like there's 70 bell bottoms, 70s bell bottoms, or hippie 60s clothes, or you get to the 80s. Yeah, it's like it's pretty crazy. Like because when you think of like historical Japan, it's all like the same sort of in your mind.
Right.
But there was really different fashions.
You can almost like pinpoint a time period based off of what pattern they were wearing or something.
Yeah, definitely. And experts would totally know. Like, yeah, they would do
that. David, who was on the show prior, he was kind of talking about how he feels like a necessity to make sure that what he draws is accurate in case someone who is into whatever he's drawing, like to make sure they don't feel like, like they don't feel disrespected because he drew something incorrectly.
Yeah.
Do you feel that pressure when you create your comic?
A little bit, but then also I had the leeway where like it was like a fantasy samurai setting, so it was just kind of like I'm just taking different parts, but I wanted to also be accurate, but I didn't have to like pinpoint, oh, this is in the 1500s exactly or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
You didn't have like, oh, it was this era, so someone who's like, no, that's incorrect.
Yeah. But also, like, I mean, when I did like Fraggle Rock comic, like that's a whole nother thing where it's like, oh, that's an IP that exists. So I had to do a lot of research for that. Like I watched all the episodes and stuff, and just tried to figure out like, okay, what's the environments look like in Fraggle Rock, and and what are the little creatures? Yeah, so it's always good to like really do some research.
Do you say Fraggle Rock? I instantly get a mental picture because it is on our TV at least once a month. My wife grew up watching Fraggle Rock. She has a box set. And so for our daughters, and especially the 2-year-old right now, she'll put Fraggle Rock on. And she goes absolutely bananas for it.
Oh, that's good. That makes me really happy.
Oh, it's still alive, man. It's very memorable, and I love it when it's on the TV. I mean, it's great. It's very colorful, and just I love the characters, and like you were saying about the environment, it's a very unique environment.
I'm just super curious. Your current project with the horror story stuff, like with the buildings.
Oh, right.
You did research for that. I think you said you took a walk somewhere.
Oh no, that's just like I have to walk my dog a lot in Seattle, and basically like just walking around, I just see a lot of creepy buildings at night, like offices that like the light is left on or something, on some, or like creepy hallways that I see through windows, and then I was like, I want to show like how creepy these buildings are to people. So
it's normal, but
it's just like a side project I want to do on iPad, like using Procreate basically. And
okay,
yeah, it's fun.
Those are turning out great.
Thank you. I want to keep doing them because I feel like they're pretty good practice for me. Like just getting the lighting of the scene and stuff.
Yeah. They're turning out gorgeous, and the buildings, they feel like you've been there and you've seen that. And
cool.
Driving them.
And I try to keep them like really short. Like I just work on them for like 4 hours or something at the most, that's pretty short for me. Or just like while I'm just watching Netflix or something. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And the storytelling, the horror aspect, just
I don't know where the story is gonna go, but we'll see.
Spider dude.
What?
Oh, I hear something. Tyler,
his iPhone's still going.
No, I just connected. We're good.
Yeah.
Sorry, my power just went out, like the whole block.
Oh, damn. It's not storming over there, is it?
Oh, apparently it's the whole city.
Oh.
Whoa.
So I'll be chilling on my phone.
Thanks for staying with us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Oh.
Such a trooper. Well, since you're still with us, you want to bring us into the next?
Like tools and techniques?
Yes.
That's it.
All right. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that you guys didn't hit that one yet.
The reason I'm laughing is because the power went out, and somehow Tyler found a sandwich in the meantime. It sounds like he's eating.
Oh.
That is mozzarella sticks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They've been ready this whole time. They're cold now.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
It's all good.
Gotta eat them cold.
Right. Who doesn't love cold cheese sticks?
I eat them cold.
Right? I forgot. That's not supposed to be.
We derailed hard.
Yeah.
So anyways, so what kind of tools do you use when you're creating your comics? Is it all just pen and tablet, or do you have sections where you're using mouse, different programs?
I guess I kind of went over it. Like I used to do it all on paper, like a giant piece of Bristol paper, and I draw it, ink it, scan it on a big scanner, bring it in and like fix things up and add tone on the computer. But now I just do the sketching and the inking and coloring and just do it all in Adobe Photoshop. Yeah, that's it.
Do you do like pre-made layouts as far as like page layouts, or do you draw those different for everything?
Yeah, because basically, like, I have to. Usually, someone gives me the script. Most of the comics I've done, like, have been written by other people and or myself. But like, I read the script and I like try to figure out like, okay, what's the best way to like tell the story of this page on this page, and you have to kind of like gauge like how, like what's an important panel, give that panel like the most space. What are panels that just can go by really quick? And then there's a lot of like little kind of rules that you use in comic making. Like there's a lot of like weird subtle rules where like say if there's an action that you want to leave someone in suspense, but you want to like let the reader know that something's going to happen on the next page, you'd have like the panel go off the page, like, or go out of bounds basically, bleed into the edge of the page, so it tells them, okay, I turn the page, it's going to be continuation. But then other things, like if you close it off, that means like a hard stop, and then you have to think of like, oh, like maybe this is a really actiony panel. Maybe I'll like make the actual, the borders of the panel, break out, or maybe they'll be at a 45-degree angle opposed to all the other panels. So there's a lot of like little things, like a lot of consideration that goes into like making the layout, even though it's just a simple layout. Like I have to like think about it for a bit.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's awesome. Actually, I read comics all the time, and I never even thought about how all the panels are actually leading up to suggesting what's happening or what's coming next or not coming next.
Yeah, some people are like a lot better at it, or like think more logically about it. I mostly just kind of go by like what feels good. When I draw the little squares or the rectangles and stuff and the panels, and see like, does this feel like it reads correctly? And you kind of like, you have to think about like, will the reader get confused as they're reading through the page? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you're almost getting like a double whammy of leading the viewer's eye as well, because I know for each panel you have to make sure the drawing has their eye read correctly, but then like you said, for the whole page it has to read correctly as well.
Yeah.
Is that challenging?
A little bit. It is a little bit, and you can also like make mistakes because you didn't take into consideration like, I'm going to set up the panel like this, but you have to also think about who's going to talk first in the panel and where the word bubble is going to be. But then like, English speakers only, you read panels like, you read word bubbles in a certain order, and if you do it backwards, it's going to confuse the reader. Like, so there's a lot of like little things that like you can get tripped up on if you don't kind of think it out. So it's kind of like you're designing the page each time.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But sometimes it's
That's
easy.
Really cool.
Sometimes it's like, oh my God, where am I going to put this person so that they talk first? But in the last page, they were on the other side of each other. How do I flip them around and not confuse the reader? Stuff like that comes up. Yeah.
Do you ever do like little test layouts?
Especially when it's like a really confusing page. And I actually, like, if I'm doing a full comic for a publisher, they usually request for me to give them basically the whole book, but in little thumbnails, which I'm supposed to like, they're supposed to be tiny, but I usually end up like making a rough sketch on a full piece of like, 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And that's like one page. And I just kind of draw it really fast. But so like so I kind of make like a mini book, of the whole comic, really badly drawn, but at least it gets like all the like where people should be placed. Sometimes you just draw circles for their heads and like, right there, like their initial right on their face. So, like, okay, this is this person, this is that person. Yeah. And you kind of get the flow, and it should be able to like, it should make sense. And you find that like, if you do it right, if everything's like lined up and perfect, like it does make sense if you're just looking through it. Yeah. So that's what happens when like in a professional comic setting. But in like Watermelon Exo, sometimes I just do it like on the fly, and like I just do it per panel, don't even think about it. Sometimes I run out of space and I have to make the last panel like incredibly small, even though that's the punchline. I kind of feel bad about that, but it is what it is.
Like, what's the most common tool you have out? Like the brush tool or the rectangle tool or something?
Just while laying out the whole, just doing the rough draft. When I'm just doing like the rough sketches, like I just use like whatever brush looks like a pencil to me, and I just draw it as fast as possible. And then I basically like go in and draw it again, but like with all the details in. And then I draw it a third time with like, and those are all pencils still. And then do it a third time with actual inks with just hard black line. I have a brush that's like a really hard brush line, but it tapers into a point, and that's what I use the whole time to ink it. Yeah, nice. Maybe I didn't. Hopefully I answered that question.
No, yeah, you did. Yeah, absolutely, you did. Thank you for working your way through that, because I had a hard time structuring that one.
Sorry, I kind of spaced out too.
That's all right. It's 11:30 at night for me on this side.
Oh my God! And on Monday too.
I wake up at 4:45 in the morning, so it's like I'm a little groggy when it gets to this point.
Oh my God! I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. No worries. Just moving along, is there any tips or suggestions that you would give somebody starting out, either making their own, fan-made comic strip, that you think they might be able to take something away going forward with theirs?
I guess, like, I think the thing that, I mean, the most important thing is that you draw something and give it a shot. I've seen a lot of people stop. There's like different stopping points where when you're trying to like do either a fan comic or a web comic, or just a comic like just that you print off with the Xerox in Xerox paper or something and send to people. But like there's a couple stopping points, and one stopping point is not doing the comic, like saying that you have a bunch of ideas and then but those ideas maybe are too grand, too like huge, and then you come up with like a giant lore thing and like a sweeping universe, and then you just like it becomes too much. And I've had this happen to me too, like where it's like I have all these ideas, but it's like, how do I tell like a concise story with this? Like how do I even start? So a lot of people don't even start drawing their comic because that's a stopping point. And then and then the other thing is, I don't know, I would just suggest like tell a story like just start off like trying to tell it like a simple story, but then just start drawing, like start writing it or drawing it, just start creating something so that you have like a weekly cadence. Maybe you like well, I guess you keep whatever you do, like just keep going, keep doing it, because like I think the thing that stops people is just like it's their own head, like and feeling scared basically, and
scared or overwhelmed.
Yeah, overwhelmed a lot. Yeah. Just so, and I feel like even if you have to be like you have to be okay with like maybe this first webcomic, it's gonna suck and won't go anywhere, and you kind of like you're working on it for like a couple months and you just decide to stop. But if you look at like what you've drawn at the end of that time compared to what you draw at the start, like you will have improved. So it wasn't for nothing. So it's always like what drawing a comic, I feel like it's always worth something because it's like the best practice you can give yourself to get better at comics. I mean, it's like anything else, just like practice. So don't be afraid to just jump in, I think. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
No, right on.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so like start that webcomic and then just if it fails, just like, okay, time to come up with a new idea, because I'm sure you probably have a new idea brewing while you're drawing the other comic. So just keep it going. Yeah.
I love it.
I think a friend of mine does exactly that. Some of you guys probably know him. Stalking Sensei he's always drawing something at least once a day. He'll always, without fail, post something once a day.
Yeah, and that's a really good thing to do. Just like as long as you draw something, it's like that's the best advice, is just like keep drawing. Fill up those, like draw some comics or fill up a sketchbook or just post stuff on the internet for fun, like, but your drawings, like, or just draw while I'm sure you get the same advice from a lot of people who come on the show, like just keep drawing while you're like waiting for a movie. Yeah. And that's advice I don't probably do myself enough. Like I probably should draw more. But, yeah.
No, we have heard it a few times in the past, but it just resonates, hearing it again, because it just shows how important that can be.
Yeah. Yeah, it is important.
Just keep drawing, Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like when I decided like, oh, I do want to do art for a career, like I had that realization, and I was like a junior in high school, and I like basically hadn't really drawn before that. but I was like, oh dang, I have a long way to like catch up to these other people I see around me. So I'm just gonna draw my ass off and just draw all the time, fill up sketchbooks, and like eventually I feel like I got good enough to make a living off of it. So that was the end goal.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so like no matter what skill level you're at now, if you just keep drawing all the time, you will get better.
Love it.
Yeah.
Can I ask, how do you balance bigger projects, like between bigger projects and then just drawing for the sake of?
I guess if it's a bigger project, like if it's like a paid project, I'd probably just do that. Because there's been times where like I did not have time to do a single drawing for my own, like for my own sake, like for fun. But I mean, if you can, try to do that. But I'm kind of like a workaholic in the way that like I will just put these are the drawings I'm getting paid for, so I will draw these until I die. Basically, which probably not good like psychologically for me. Like I probably should be taking some time out and drawing something for fun. But yeah, I'll just try to get those big projects out of the way.
What you could do too is like a cool down sketch for like 20 minutes when you're done with the paid stuff. Yeah. Just draw something just out of your mind.
Yeah. I think that would be a healthy way to do it, I think.
But you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't blame you though.
That's why like I kind of burnt out on comics a little bit for like after I finished like Orphan Blade. Like I didn't want to draw anything. But then I ended up drawing 2 comics after that. So I guess I'm a liar.
Well, it was a change of pace.
Yeah.
I think it was a big part of that. It sounds like, because it was a change of pace. It was something that you were genuinely like, I don't want to say passionate yet, but interested in. And it was driving that, curiosity and that inspiration, and you created something from it with the webcomics.
Yep.
So I could see how you could just dive right in and be like, I'll be to bed and, I'll head to bed at 11:30. And it's like, oh man, I gotta finish drawing this.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it was like a breath of fresh air to like draw something that I wanted to draw, I guess.
Yeah.
No one was telling me what to draw. I just draw. So, yeah. So I guess it is. The answer to Ruby's question, I guess, is just like that you should try to try to focus on the things you're getting paid for. That's probably smart. But but then, give yourself a few minutes to like draw something quick for yourself.
And on a normal day, how do you manage your daily routines, like home life and versus art life and gaming?
Yeah, gaming. Well, it doesn't help that if you have like an addiction to a game like Destiny or something. But yeah, I think I've been trying lately to at least sit down and try to draw. Like it helps a lot with the iPad and stuff. Just to draw on the couch or something. And then I can watch a movie or something at the same time. Sometimes you have to actually like use your eyes on this TV screen. So some shows are a little bit harder than others. Some shows you can just listen to. Like we've been watching a lot of like Star Trek recently.
Nice.
And it's like you don't need to really look up that much with Star Trek. You know who they are. You know who those characters are. And then you just draw. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I like watching shows I've already watched 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Because I have that kind of issue where I will replay something over and over.
Yeah.
And it's good because you don't have to look. You just know, you listen.
Yeah.
Or audiobooks.
Audiobooks, if you find a good one, that's pretty good. Yeah. Or podcasts too.
I see you worked that in there. I love audiobooks.
Yeah.
You were talking about Star Trek, and all I was thinking about was the new Picard
Oh yeah.
series that's coming out. And I saw that they had some captains and other characters from previous Star Trek series.
Wait, which one are we talking about?
Just Picard.
The Picard one?
Yeah.
I really need to see that.
Does that channel release them like Netflix all at the same time or like one at a time? Like, because I want to subscribe to that channel right when they're all done, so I can just watch them all at once
and then binge it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. What's that? It's CBS. I would believe that it would be a weekly release.
Yeah.
So they're gonna stretch that out.
Yeah.
Of course.
Which is fine. I mean, it looks amazing.
Then they have their other Star Trek shows, which are pretty good here.
I haven't watched the new one yet.
Yeah, it's really like, yeah, it's like a movie. It's crazy. I saw the first episode. It looked really good.
Wasn't it on Netflix for a while, but then it was gone?
I think it was on Hulu?
Oh, snap.
I think it was on Hulu. I think you're right.
But maybe just the first episode, though.
Oh.
I don't know. They're being very stingy.
Yeah. I don't like watching just one episode. In fact, I have a hard time following a series when I watch it. When it first comes out, then there's like 3 seasons in, and I'm lost because I have to wait for each one.
Yeah, so definitely subscribe when they're all out and available.
Yeah.
That is my advice there.
That's good advice.
I did that with ironically, it's a podcast, but it's the Wolverine one. I don't know if you've heard of it. Marvel released. Oh, dude, it's awesome. Yep. And you can get it on Spotify or anything like that right now. You can get the full first season on Spotify for free.
Yeah, I didn't know they were doing stuff like that. So that sounds like perfect drawing fodder. Just, draw and listen to that.
That's exactly what it is, drawing fodder. It's like the energy you need passing through you to translate on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Ruby, you want to bring us into the facts of all facts?
The facts of all facts. Yeah, you've done a lot of research. We discussed this earlier. In all your time studying, even traveling abroad, living in different places.
Yeah.
Have you learned anything interesting or random that just sticks out, and you're like,
I've been like worried about this question because like I'm like the worst. I'd be the worst. Like bar night, like fact
Trivia night.
Yeah, like at a bar, like ever. Like I can't think of anything on the fly, like trivia wise. I'm so bad. Like I know stuff, and it will like if
yeah,
something remind me of something, it'll somehow work its way out of my brain. But if I'm just told, think of a cool fact, it seems that's impossible.
oh, you talked about some pretty cool facts as it is already.
But okay, but
Let's tell us a random one.
I was like, okay, I did a lot of research for Orphan Blade.
Mm-hmm.
So like thinking about that and thinking about all the weird stuff about samurai, I'm gonna give you 3 samurai facts that surprised me.
All right.
So can I go? Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that there's like when I started Orphan Blade, I didn't know that there were women samurai actually, like, and that they were probably like something like 2/3 or 1/3 samurai were actually women.
Whoa.
Wow.
Didn't know. Most people don't.
I think it's all males.
Yeah. And then another thing is I didn't know that samurai use more than like, maybe this is maybe known because you've watched like The Last Samurai or something, but like I didn't know that samurai didn't just use swords, but they used like different weapons as well. Like they used guns. Like later on when the guns came out, like they used a flintlock. They had like a flintlock gun that they could like whip out certain situations. So I didn't know that, and they had like knives sometimes, and I think some of them also had like this chain thing with a pointy dagger on the end. Some used that. And then I didn't know I found out that their hairstyle, how samurai have like the top knot basically.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that the top knot was basically to hold their helmet in place.
Oh.
And then you usually see like they're shaved the top knot, their hair pulled back, and then like the front part of it shaved.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually they shaved the front so that the helmet wouldn't like chafe their head. So it was just a comfort thing, basically. Like I always thought that was like you just did that for tradition, but it was actually like all those factors were just to keep your helmet in place.
Helmet is more important than hair.
Yeah, because I guess like your head is pretty important. Probably you want to keep that attached to your body.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I bet in those like wearing a helmet's probably extremely heavy because it's like made out of iron or something. Like so, like anything that can like keep that comfortable as you like walking around is probably a good thing. So those are 3 things I had no idea when I started.
Those were really good facts, actually. Got any more?
No, I don't.
Fine.
What's a Ronin?
3.
Your brain.
Ronin is when like your master was killed, like or something, or failed or something, like killed, and you basically you're masterless. Like the person you serve is, and what you're supposed to do as a samurai is kill yourself when your master dies, basically.
Oh.
But a lot of them didn't. They just, well, I don't know the amounts, but the ones who didn't, who didn't kill themselves, they're called Ronin, and they walked the lands and did things for money, and as I guess according to a lot of fiction that I've read,
became like hired samurais essentially.
Yeah. It's basically like Wild West samurai. Pretty close to that.
Now, what I love about Japan, and a lot of people don't realize, it's a massive country with hundreds of like villages and cities and everything, and each one of them has their own like styles and little subculture and traditions.
Yeah.
So back when shoguns and everything, were prominent in Japanese culture back 300 years ago, a lot of these villages had their own samurais, and they would battle other samurais, and there were all these like I picture picture it as like half the United States, and each state had their own little subculture, which is true. Every state does have their own little niches, and then each one of them was fighting with each other here and there, trying to gain.
And you have to think about like how hard it was to like get from one place to another anyway. Like they had trade, but like the ordinary person wouldn't go to the next town probably.
No, yeah, people live their whole lives just in their village or in their city. Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was a pretty crazy world there, and yeah, it's interesting.
Very interesting. I did not know that. I like those 3 fun facts that you gave, and it just sparked a conversation because I always found it very fascinating. And how did you know I watched The Last Samurai? No.
Didn't everyone?
There was a show I was watching, and they were talking about. I like listening to kind of like the obscure or like ghost stories and stuff like that. Mm. I very into folklore, so I really enjoy the stories. I love stories. I love when people tell stories, but they did one on Japanese culture, which is I can't think of. I'm going to butcher the name, but they did one on Japanese culture, and it had to revolve around like the ghosts and spirits in Japan. And one of them was actually modeled after, the Grudge movies were actually modeled after this one traditional yokai.
Right.
A yokai.
Yeah. Like evil demon type thing.
Yeah. Or just just thinking back to it, that's a great one from Astonishing Legends, and they do so much research and break it down, and they even talk about all the different villages, and each one had there were very popular yokai going through tradition, and actually at one point for about 5 or 6 years they actually thought there was one in a village, and they wouldn't let the children walk around by themselves. So there was curfews for all the kids because they thought one of these yokai was going to sneak up and grab one of them and run away with them. And you could tell that you had one behind you because you would hear a tiki tiki behind you, and it was supposed to symbolize like them walking on their fingers or whatever. So you hear
creepy.
Tiki tiki. Dude, it's super creepy and such a good story, but I'm not going to derail us on that too much. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of like really creepy ghosts and yokai stuff, because it's like things you wouldn't think about in we're kind of like steeped in our Western culture or whatever. Like we've heard all the European type ghosts and goblins, and I don't know, but we so rarely hear about like Asian countries like folklore.
And they're really deep too. Like these deities and all the spirits, and the Japanese culture has a lot of them, but just that whole entire Asia in general, it's so many different cultures within that continent that if you look into any of them and really take a deep dive, you're going to see how deep these cultures are. And each one of them, like the villages and everything, has their own cultures and their own beliefs and folklores. And some of the Tibetan ones really get me too, though. Those ones really kind of freak me out. No, sorry, I derailed us.
But I love story time.
Yeah, this is good. This is good.
Thank you for dealing with my rambling. No,
Tibetan's not the one where it's like where the like ghosts. They're the tales about like people going to sleep and then their head like comes off of their body and like chases people. Maybe I'm thinking about a different country though.
But I don't think that's a Tibetan. It could be. It could be. That sound.
But it's pretty creepy, and
that is pretty creepy to think about it.
Because I think like all the entrails or something like supposedly like are drifting, and they're like drifting behind the head that's like floating around and attacking people. It's pretty scary. Like, and there's a whole series of like scary movies involved. Never mind.
No, you're good.
I'm just derailing too.
There's actually an artist who draws all of these different folklore and yokais and all from all different cultures. So he'll take it and get as much research as he can, and then he'll actually draw like a rendition of that spirit and this and that. He actually has a book. I'll get the name if you're interested. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
yeah, definitely.
I know where to find it. It's amazing work. But thank you so much for the fun facts.
Those were really good.
But now we're to the fun part of the show, which is the 60-second challenge. So unfortunately, Tyler is not with us. Tyler's power went out in his entire city. So, but we're gonna troop on. So, if you're in chat right now, feel free to suggest a subject for the 60-second challenge. It could be anything from ninja hamsters to, see what they got. Any suggestions?
Remember,
we usually like to ask the chat first, and then we'll come up with a couple of our own.
Right. Think about something.
Medieval.
Whoa.
Medieval. A gerbil drifter.
Aw.
Medieval, like knights and dragons. Okay.
Gerbil drifter, knights and dragons, Lakshmi too. It's a lot.
All of that.
That is a lot.
And then do you guys decide? How does this work?
No, it's a group effort.
It is a group effort.
There's a lot of people threw out a lot of things, so I'm trying to like blend. Oh, actually, I like that one right there.
Samurai gerbil drifter. There we go. That's usually what happens, by the way. Someone consolidates a few of the suggestions.
What is a gerbil?
What is a gerbil?
Samurai gerbil drifter.
Oh yeah, gerbil. Yeah, that'll work. Should I do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a timer?
Right. Ruby will get a 60-second timer going. You can feel free to set up and get what you need to.
He's gonna show.
How do I do this?
Hold with your less dominant hand. Draw with your dominant hand.
Okay, yeah, that'll be really shaky and make everyone
dizzier. Nah.
Vomit.
I think should be fine. Are you left-handed or?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Wait, maybe I can put it on a box of gum. Here, will this work?
Turn it a little more to the left, and I think that would be good.
No. Wait. Huh. It's really close. Okay. There you go.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll give you a 3-second countdown. After the 3, 2, 1, then you go.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
What does a gerbil look like?
It's fluffy.
The drifter already has kind of a samurai outfit.
Yeah, it does. Has some that kind of feel. 30 seconds.
Oh no.
Pressure. But hey, 30 seconds is how long everyone else had before. 10 seconds left.
Ah!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop.
Okay. Looks kind of like this.
I love it.
I ran out of time for his feet, so they're just like.
It's fine.
And his arm's kind of long. Yeah, I try to do the drifter, like headband there.
Yes. And
okay, I'm now cheating.
It's okay. When we had Clint on, he drew the steampunk robot, and then for the rest of the time we were talking, he left the screen up. He saved the one, and then he started working on another. And by the time the show was over, he had like a finished piece.
Oh my god.
That was really good.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, what we're going to do, if you could take like a picture of it, or maybe mail it to Tyler, because Tyler or Ruby, because they're the closest. But we're going to, at the end of the year, take all of them from all the shows for the year, and we're going to put them into like a calendar.
Cool.
And then that calendar will go to support a charity.
So like one per month?
One per month, and then we might have just a couple extra pages, and everybody's going to have, you know, a little caption on it. We have to work out the details, but it's definitely going to be at the end of the year, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
But I really do like these, now that they're 60 seconds, like we said in a couple previous podcasts, feel bad for everybody that did it in 30 seconds, but
30 seconds
still,
is not enough.
No, but that's the challenge of it. And they're always fun. And if you're listening and you didn't get a chance to see it, we always upload every live recording to YouTube. So you can actually go there and clip about the time. And you can skip towards the end if you want and watch the 60-second challenge. And they're always a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now it's going to be really hard enough for me not to like add to this. I'll put that away.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, I started it. I really want to finish it. Just take a picture of it first, and then you can finish it.
Yeah, I'll do a fully rendered like Procreate drawing about the gerbil samurai, a drifter guy. That'd be good.
That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. No, thank you for coming on again with us.
Yeah.
We're at the end of the show right now.
Okay.
Is there any final remarks or suggestions? I don't think we have anything going on for community-wise right now. But go ahead, Jake.
Thanks for inviting me on, guys, and thanks for letting me be maybe the fastest returning guest on your show. Maybe, because I feel like I was just here before Guardian Con.
First in my group that's come back.
Yeah. Awesome. Nice. Yeah, and hopefully I see all of you guys at Guardian Con next year.
I still have more to ask about.
Blast.
Just saying.
What? Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Don't leave just yet. I have more I want to ask.
Oh, okay. okay.
Don't keep forgetting that I like to ask people where they get their names from. Now, you do tend to go by your name.
Yeah.
But in that case, I might as well ask. How'd you come up with Watermelon XO?
Oh, that was just like a random suggestion. Like I was just drawing my character and putting it out there, and some random person said, "Your character looks like a watermelon." Like just the way it was colored, like it was green on top and like a pink mouth.
Yeah.
So I didn't put any more thought into it than that.
You ran with it though.
Yeah.
Got other characters looking like birds, and they're all adorable.
And usually, like I'm really bad at like thinking of actual names for characters. So I just usually if anyone throws any name out there, I'm like, okay, that sounds fine.
Okay, no, that's fun.
That's all it takes.
Another question before you go is, so your style is very colorful, very fruity, very beautiful. I love how bright it is.
Thanks.
What made you take that route?
Oh, the style. Well, the only like stylistic thing I thought that I decided on was just that in the start I wanted to do every comic is, if you look at the start of Watermelon, so all the comics are like fully painted, basically. Like I didn't do any line work. I just like painted it in Photoshop, basically, and that kind of lent it to be like really colorful. And I think I have a colorful style because like I was coloring just so many like Rescue Ranger comics and stuff.
Oh, that's fair.
So I was just like, I kind of developed ways to like color stuff really fast but really colorful, and that became my style basically.
Oh, I like seeing that logic. I mean,
yeah,
I like how it makes sense and it's perfect.
Thanks. Thank you. So that's why it's all colorful and stuff. Yeah.
Thanks for answering that.
No problem.
They came out.
Thank you. Cool.
Awesome. Well, Jake, where can people find you and find more of your work?
Yeah, you can the best place is just follow me on Twitter at Lays Summerstone. which is like LAZE, summer as in the season, and stone as in a rock, all put together, Laze Summer Stone. And that's pretty much where I announce everything and I post everything. And then if you want to read my comic, Watermelon Exo, it's just watermelonexo.com. Simple. Yeah.
And I think a link to that website is attached to your Twitter too. So.
Yes. Yeah. If you look at my Twitter bio, it has all the links and everything you want to see. Yeah.
And Guardian Con next year?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how much comic I'll get done because since coming back from Guardian Con, I've like not done a single comic or anything. I've been just really relaxing this summer and taking it easy. But I think like hopefully the new expansion this fall is going to really inspire me to get going. I have one comic that's like halfway done. That's like a Watermelon Exo / Fievel Goes West situation, or like when they're like looking at the moon and they're like, "Are you looking at the same moon?"
Oh my God! I know that reference. Yeah.
It's gonna be that, and there might be a Titan there saying the moon's haunted or something. But yeah,
I would be very proud if you added a Titan in.
Yeah,
because I've been a Titan main since Vanilla Destiny 1. I've played no other character.
Whoa,
all you hunters.
That's crazy. Whoa.
Yeah,
Titans.
Dude, I've tried like making one of each character, and I don't even make it an hour as that other character as a hunter or anything. It's like, nope, this is silly. Where's my Titan?
Yeah,
I'll grab my Titan. It's like, this feels like home.
Yeah, I think you just get used to one, and then it's just like this feels right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, my preference is hunters, but I can understand. Titans are fun, and it's fun to punch things, so I get it.
Yeah, but you get the hunters class is like, man, I dread going.
Awesome.
When I grinded out. I had Lego help me 2 weekends ago. And then I had another buddy help me wrap it up, grinding for the Recluse.
Yeah.
And just a little Luna Howl, because I never started it. I haven't done PvP like competitive since Trials went away. I loved Trials. I was a big Trials player.
It's a while.
And and I'm so rusty at competitive play, but I would fear seeing a entire team of hunters still. All those feelings came back, and it's like, oh no. It's 4 hunters.
Yeah.
They're going to be going in Viz and doing this and being jumping all over the place. And it's like trying to swat a flea.
I am a hunter, and I understand like the fear of another team of hunters. So that usually means like, well, I'm not going to see what killed me this time. I'm just going to be dead. So.
Yep, the blade barrage that can shoot around corners, bend physics.
It's always the like insane flanks that someone comes up behind me somehow, and I'm like, although that does happen once in a while with Titan, will just shield bash me or like elbow me in the face and I'm dead once in a while.
Yeah, but when I hey, I love putting Insurmountable Skull Fort on and just going ham trying to get as many shoulder charges as possible. But there's a certain commitment to doing that there's no going back. So if you whiff, you just go right by them. And it's like, whiff, I'm dead. And you turn around and, they got you.
Right. I understand that.
It's a fun game. I might play a match before I go to bed.
No, but again, thanks again, and thank you everybody for tuning in with us. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, Pixels After Dark, PXLS After Dark, and also if you want to see the live show, same name at YouTube. I'm not very good at closing, but
hey, you got all the information.
Got all the information, and we'll see you all next time.
All right,
take care.
Good night,
guys.